Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with NVIDIA Financial Assessment. I made this video to find out how high or how low NVIDIA can go before the earnings next week using historical data, financials, and forward PE. This min-max calculation that I'm going to present in this video should give us some idea when we try to make some transactions. Now, let's get started. In this table that you see on your screen, I put together the summary of the last 8 quarters of the financials data for NVIDIA. And also, I added these two columns that gives year over year and quarter over quarter comparison for the previous quarter. Starting with the revenue, you see that the last quarter Nvidia reported 35.08 billion. That is quarter over quarter 16.8% up and year over year 93% up. And next quarter estimate is 38.09. So that's also probably about 15 to 16% growth quarter over quarter. Net income, you see year over year 108.8% growth and quarter over quarter 16.34% growth. And also the profit margin percentage, gross margin percentage, EBITDA margin percentage year over year all positive. Quarter over quarter, you see the last quarter the growth was not so great. So the last quarter you can notice that Nvidia struggle on the margin side. And the next quarter they're going to present these numbers will be very critical that would show if the margin for Nvidia is still going to get impacted. EPS year over year 101.4% growth, quarter over quarter 19.8% growth. The next quarter the estimate is 0.84. Let me correct that. In the last quarter the EPS was 0.81. So for next quarter they're going to be present on Tuesday next week. There's slight increase in the EPS projected, but not much. And free cash flow per share also going in the right direction, 142.8% increase year over year and 26% increase quarter over quarter. Debt to equity ratio is also in negative going down, so that's good. So in terms of the financials, Nvidia is doing great. The only problem I see is the margin percentages for last quarter. So this quarter these numbers will be very important as well, and that might impact Nvidia stock price just after the earnings. If the margin was not great, you might notice Nvidia would go down after the earnings, even if the earnings beat happens. So moving on to the EPS table comparison, you see in the last quarter they reported 0.81 versus the projected 0.75. That was 8% increase. The last 7 or 8 quarters, I do not see any negative earnings surprise. So that's good. The next quarter, the projection is. So let me take this column out. That's not relevant now. So for next quarter, the projection is 0.84 and after that 0.91. For next 4 quarters, the overall growth projected is about 37%. You see here from February 2025 through November 2025. So in terms of the EPS, I don't see any problem. Let's take a look forward P ratio and the comparison and come up with a min-max range for Nvidia before earnings. So I have some tables on this tab. The very first one is the trailing P and the forward P table. I put together the trailing P and the forward P for probably 10 or 11 quarters. In the second table, I have the EPS actual, EPS projected, and also the closing price on the earnings date before the earnings was announced. Okay. For example, last quarter before the earning was announced was 145.88 when the market closed. And for today's NVIDIA stock price, let me update this table. So today NVIDIA closed at 139.23. So I'm going to put a number here that gives the forward P of 38.89 as of now. Also, I have another line here that gives the earnings surprise for last 10 or 11 quarters and also next 4 quarters earnings projection, including the current quarter. So that gives us the required data to calculate the median, mean, average, and the maximum for the forward P that you see here. I just put together the formula to calculate median, mean, average, and the maximum for the forward P. And same thing I did for the earnings surprise percentage, mean, average, max, and the median value. So those numbers are important to calculate the min max range for NVIDIA before the earnings. So I came up with the mean, average, and the maximum range in this table using those values. I can go over the formula with you. For the minimum, I'm using H4, U31, and U38 are 3 factors. So H4 is basically the forward P you see here. And U31 is the minimum value for the forward P for last probably 7 or 8 quarters. You see here, U31 in this table. And the third factor is U38, and that is the earnings surprise average value. So that gives me the minimum value of 108.67 for this quarter. And same formula I used to calculate the average value. Same 3 factors, but instead of using U31, I'm using V31. That's the average forward P. And the third factor is U38. That's the average earnings surprise percentage. That's this one. And similarly for the maximum, same 3 factors. So V31, the second one, that is basically the average value of the forward P, and V38 is the maximum earnings surprise here. See? So this tells that the max Nvidia can touch in this quarter before the earning is 152.98. The average is 142. Nvidia is trading around 139 at this point. My minimum value is 108.67, but it doesn't mean that Nvidia will go down to 108 in next few days. Basically, this tells that in this quarter, this was my minimum value. Okay, so Nvidia probably already touched about 111 or 112 in this quarter few weeks ago. So I'm not expecting Nvidia to go down to that level next few days. But maximum level 152.98 still possible. Nvidia can touch 150 level before the earnings. So let me make this table a little bigger. So you see here before next earnings, the caption. So this was my financial assessment or analysis to help you out what can happen before the earnings. You should expect Nvidia to be volatile on Monday and Tuesday next week. But do not try to make any emotional transaction on Monday and Tuesday. Be realistic. Also try to look at the big picture when you try to make some transaction before the earnings. And also I uploaded this spreadsheet onto my Patreon account. So if you are an exclusive member, you can access this spreadsheet from there. The link is in the description. I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more in the next video. Take care.